Yes. No, it's just me, like wanting to make sure that it's fine.
Oh, it
Okay.
is, but it is.
Actually,
look at how we are.
you know what? We're just gonna keep recording. This is it. All right, guys, welcome to episode 27 of Michelle's Dream Space. Today we have a very special guest, Annalisa
Thank you for having me.
Iob or Iob. What's your last name?
Iob.
Iob, because for some reason I kind of thought it was an L, and it could,
But
because
everybody does. Like
I don't know.
everybody.
And you know what? I forgot my notes. They're over here. And you know what else? We forgot to start the live as well. So we're gonna actually do this. We're gonna actually do this live as well, and we're gonna invite people, hopefully, to, if they want to participate, to tell us what they would like to know about our topic for today, because we are going to be talking about the feminine energy, guys. And I first wanted to introduce Annalisa as well. I will do that in a second. Just let me start this live and let me get my notes ready, because I'm like a mess right now. And we are now live. Hey guys!
Hello.
Today we have a very special guest, Annalisa
Hi.
Iob from Italy. So let me just introduce Annalisa here real quick, and you can add anything you feel like I might maybe missed. But she's an expat from Italy now, living in Paris, and we actually met at a philosophy event not too long ago, and we kind of just clicked, and now we're getting together to record this podcast live. Because it's just, it's been such a great time talking about this topic, which is the feminine energy, the feminine power. And so we really want to bring this into especially women, or if you're a man but you're embracing more the feminine energy as well, right?
Yeah,
We did talk about that. And so going back to introducing you, Annalisa is a multifaceted professional and a freelancer. So by day, she does, just a very, let's say, regular, normal job. And by night, she is a writer. And so she's working on her
She's
passion.
trying to be.
Hey, no trying. Yeah, so you know what? We should be probably looking over here too.
Wants to know what?
Oh, you know what? Let's put this over here. Guys, like this is our first time doing two things at the same time. So thank you for your patience. We're gonna actually switch. Oh, no, you know what? I'm gonna leave this here. Sorry. Okay, I said I wasn't gonna laugh so hard because of the sound, but it's fine. You know what? It's not meant to be perfect. I think
No, actually, it's great. It's great.
There, I think that's better, because that way we can be looking here, or even because we have a lot of snacks on the table, guys. To be honest, so there's like not enough space for the mic, because there's like cakes behind here. Okay, that's better.
That's great. That's perfect. Look at that.
Yeah, perfect.
Great.
That way we can be more focused here, because we're probably gonna have this is probably gonna be uploaded on YouTube. So, okay, now we're here with you guys, and if there's anyone up here that shows up in a bit, so we're telling your followers that you started. Okay, thank you. Yeah, if anybody joins here in a bit, then we can answer questions as well. Okay, so what did I miss about your intro? Did I say? Oh, so you have a blog called Life and Love, right?
Yeah, Love and Life.
Oh, Love and Life. Okay.
It's a new thing, so I don't even remember myself. But yes, I think it came about because I created. I'm in my mid-30s, and I'm newly single again. Newly for the last year.
Yeah.
For the last 9 months ish. And I've decided to create for myself a strategy to find the love of my life this year. So I published my strategy on Medium, and then I've started a newsletter to update weekly on how my strategy is performing.
Yeah. Yes.
And I have seen things that you humans.
Yeah, you know what? I found that like super interesting, because I was thinking like in a way, it's like, yeah, it's great to have like a specific plan of how we do things. And it's also, for me, I was thinking it's also important to kind of flow with the universe and let things happen. And I feel like for you, from observing like what you're doing, it feels like it's been a combination of both things.
Yes, very much, very much. So there's been a lot of intentionality and a lot of looking at creating a plan, what I'm looking for, parameters, but also trying to let things happen within those that structure in a way, also trying to let things happen. So it's been an interesting experiment of doing a bit of both.
Yeah, exactly. So in that journey, right? It's like all these things started coming up and we've had a lot of conversations around relationships and the feminine energy and how things actually happen, the dynamics that happen when we get into a relationship and why things don't work out. And it's like we were wondering, especially me, I've been pondering a lot on like how is it that some relationships can last such a long time regardless of the fact that there's a lot of stuff that's not like aligned, and why is it that other people just, they seem to have everything that they need and that just falls apart. But it's like there's this thing that happened. So first, before we jump into the story, because we will tell the story of how this all came about, and thing that we talked about one day that was like this whole like numinous experience. But first we would like to share a little bit about what we think, what the feminine energy is. So yeah, and I love what you said earlier, like about what it is for you, so go ahead.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and I also, thanks to recent events, through my strategy, I've been dating a lot, and I've been having a few recent flirts, and I think I've come to realize that the feminine energy to me is about creating and setting a space that then men in my case, but people in general. Um, that I'm interested in need to come into. And so it's creating a space and also setting the energy for that space, setting the quality of it, and there's several different qualities to it. So it's nurturing, so it's exciting. There's a lot of different things, but it's about creating that environment that people need to enter and walk into, really.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And for me, I got into thinking about like the left brain, the right brain, hemispheres, and how the feminine energy is more linked to the right brain, and the more creative side, intuitive side, nurturing, and there's a lot more behind it, of course. But yeah, there's this idea of like also the magnetism that it has, and being in that leadership position of not necessarily going after people or giving orders to people, but like letting people come to you and being inspired by what you do. And so you have this magnetism, right? And also this the creative energy for me is like super important because it's like there's this yeah, like we're mothers. We just the creations of this earth has have been brought by feminine energy, right? And it's, well, you could say it's also a mix of both. But what I'm going at here is the fact that women birth children, for example, right? And that's like it's a very powerful energy, right? To bring life into this planet. So that's kind of what I was focusing on when I was thinking about what is feminine energy, right? Because, but again, it's like these are just little things that we point out, but it's just so much more than that. It's just it encompasses so many other things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, to me, it really comes down to the space you create around
Hey,
yourself.
Joe. Sorry.
Hi, Joe. So yeah, it's really create the fabric of a space around you that people want to interact or not. Yeah, and it's still a concept that is kind of new to me. I'm used to be a go-getter. I'm used to have that kind of, I'm gonna get it done sort of energy. So the idea of just sitting still and creating an environment is a very, very new experience, but it's also very grounding, you know.
Yeah.
It's almost like a coming home to something that I know how to do, and I've never really allowed myself to do.
Oh, that's beautiful. So now we had some jump in. Hey Joe, do you have any questions for us? Like, or you can share whatever you want. We're just here to like yeah, say hi to anyone who wants to jump in. This is the making of a podcast about the feminine energy.
What are your thoughts, Joe,
Yeah.
about the feminine power?
And this is in no way like in a feminist kind of fashion. It's more talking about like the dynamics, that happen within not only women but also men. Everybody has a feminine side and a masculine side. And we're actually recording here and there, so that's why we keep going back and forth. So yeah, if you have any comments, please let us know. He left. Okay, that's fine. We'll wait for other people who want to like chime in. Oh, okay. I think I'm not sure. Okay. It just went like disappeared. But anyways, we're here to answer any questions, or if you want to share comments, and they're going to be live in the podcast. Yeah, feel free to comment. What is for you the feminine energy or the feminine power? And yeah, so I love what you just said. That sounded very profound.
What did I just say? That's not a very.
I can't repeat it with the exact words. Please don't ask me to do that. Just was, it was artistic, and you cannot replicate art, so it's
that.
Like it's going on. Just kidding. Okay. Anyways, so let's go to the anecdote. What happened?
Yes.
What happened that day when this like download came into my field or something? Tell me your side of it, because I always thought it was really cool how you told me.
We didn't just come up with a subject about feminine energy just like this. It just happened that one day we were hanging out. I think it was was it last Saturday? Was it 2 Saturdays ago? I can't remember.
It was
No, it was 2 Saturdays ago.
Time is so weird.
Yeah.
It was
2 Saturdays ago.
I wrote down the time and the date in my journal because I was like, this is a super important date, and I'm pretty sure it was April 6th.
Okay. Yes, it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out around here in this lovely in the suburbs of Paris, and it was lovely. It was a nice day.
That's where I
We were
live.
just chatting, chatting about different things, just random things. And then I told Michelle about the dream that my the wife of my granddad, who had just passed away, had about him. And then the weirdest thing happened. We were sitting at a cafe. The weirdest, and we were sitting right. I don't know how to explain this, but we were just. They had opened sort of there was like a veranda thing that they had opened completely, and so we were in this between the outside and the inside of this restaurant cafe, and I almost saw like energy coming from the outside and flowing through Ishel, which is really odd to see. I would say I would call myself quite spiritual, but not excessively so. So it's like having real manifestations of energy. It's not something that I'm particularly used to. Actually, I'm not used to at all. And so I've seen this honestly flow of energy flowing through you, and Anisha went.
Did it have a color or no?
I would say white, but I feel like that's what a beginner in energy would say.
She underestimates herself a lot.
Same. But yes, I feel like I saw this flow, and it was quite visible. And then Ishal went almost into a trance, and she said something that felt so true that I got goosebumps immediately.
Yeah.
Do you want to say what you said?
I wish I could repeat the exact same words again. That was art, so I cannot do the same exactly, but I will remember, like try to remember. So the thing is, it all started with this story that you told me, right?
Yeah.
About your grandparents, well, your grandpa,
Yeah, and his
and how,
wife.
yeah, and the wife that he had after he had divorced your grandma,
Yes.
right? And you were saying something like, yeah, but can I share a little bit about what happened? Is
Yeah,
it
of
okay?
course.
Okay. So you were saying something like, well, he was a very difficult man, and she was still with him, right? And then you were also saying that she was a difficult person, and that she was very jealous, and I was like thinking and tuning into the dream because she had this dream in which he was going down into the basement, and there were like he was like carrying bells, right, attached to him, like
Yeah, it was coming out of the
yeah,
basement, dragging this cart full of little bells.
yeah. And so I was tapping into the dream and wondering, why did she dream this? What is this telling us? And it was almost like there was all these like subconscious things that she, which is linked to feminine intuition, right? The things that she knew that she never really wanted to check with him or communicate with him, but instead she just kept them repressed. And that was why there's like the basement, right? And then like the bells, like, hey, look at this, like really bringing attention to that. And then at the same time, I was thinking, why was she still there? Why was she in that relationship for 40 years, right?
Yeah, very
40
long.
years. She never left. Why did he never leave? And that was like also the question that like really got to me. Like, why did he never leave if she was so also like jealous and difficult to be with? And it was like, because she kept him there. Like, literally, that's the answer I got. And she knew intuitively, speaking, like what to do or what not to do in order to keep him in that relationship and nurture that relationship. And that's why they lasted for 40 years, because of that feminine intuition of knowing what to do and what not to do, right? Because she actually did love him and she wanted him to stay. So it's like, wow, that's why it lasted so long. And that's, but it's literally, it was her choice, right? He was like, he could have left at any moment in life, right? In that relationship. He never did. And so it really landed because this is not the only example. Like, there have been several examples that I've been tuning into that have this kind of same or similar dynamic where we stay in relationships way too long and we don't even know why. So there's all these subconscious things happening behind all of that. And a lot of it is linked to what the feminine energy is about. And again, this is maybe more prevalent in women or men that are embracing more the feminine energy, but it's also present in men, right? Like, how much are you connected with your intuition? How much are you connected with that like nurturing energy? And since as women here, like, we came to bring that forth, we came to really magnify that and also help each other in this path. Like, it's just so we found that so powerful and so profound, as like, she actually chose him, and that's how it happens. Because going back also to even biology, right? It's like, what happens in the animal kingdom, we have a lot of similarities. It's not like everything is the same, but we can pick a lot of similarities from the animal kingdom, as like, for example, the peacock, right? It's like the male will go and show its feathers, and then the female will choose. It's not the man that goes and chooses the female. It's like, oh, I want to go out with this girl. The female will choose the man, and then, or the male, and then from there, there's this dance, right? This pulling back and forth of energies. But the feminine power we feel is like, it holds a lot of, yes, like power in the decision making and how that dance goes, who pulls, in one direction or the other. So that was like the download, basically. It was something along the lines. I know I made it even longer today, but yeah,
No, yeah. I
yeah.
think that what I got, what the big learning that I got was that we decide, like we, women, but also again men who are more in tune to their feminine side, we decide and we dictate what goes on into a relationship dynamic. So that to me was a really big learning, because I felt rejected so many times, and I always, and that felt at the time like it was happening to me, and instead it was me, unconsciously, probably rejecting them, and then being rejected on the surface level. And I think that's been such a when that happened, when I saw that energy flow through Shell, when you said those things, it just so rung true to me, because yes, for sure, I've seen that happen so many times. I've held on to and wrestled with relationships that weren't right for me a lot, and that's how a lot of issues and chaos in my love life has come about, for sure. And now that I know that, yeah, it just feels a lot easier to navigate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm giggling because it's like this was definitely a big discovery, for both of us, because it's like we have more, yes, more power in what happens than we think we have. And it's like we can, what's going on?
Sorry, I think I noted it down. I just remembered.
What is it? What is it? Okay.
Big understanding with the shout today. We make everything happen. We have the power to repel or attract. We decide what happens.
Yeah. And we know from the get-go, it's like we know from the get-go who is good for us and who is not good for us. And that we can look at it from a biological perspective as well. Like we feel, and this is tuning into the intuition, like especially women, right? We know if a guy is right for us or not. And that is felt. So regardless of what we do or not do later in that connection, and first there has to be that spark, right? Because we were talking about how it doesn't happen all the time. It's not like the woman chooses all the time, like who's gonna be the guy, that she's with. The guy has to show a level of interest, and if they do that, then the dance starts, right? If she chooses him at a certain level, then the dance starts, right? And so what happens is, like, if at any moment in time, let's say the woman decides, oh, I finally don't like this guy because of what he just did. It's like there's this like a creation point, I call it. There's like a creation point that leads to a series of events that seem to be like it's the fault of the guy and whatnot, but it's actually most probably the woman who decided, oh, okay, I don't like this guy anymore, so then that's felt at a subconscious level by the man, and then other things start happening. So I think we should give an example of, like, I don't know if you want to share your example of what happened to you recently.
Very recently.
Yeah, just a good way to
recently.
show.
I was having a flirt, and I was very into this flirt. And he was gonna come to Paris for a week to stay with me and explore things. And I was very excited about that. And he was gonna come on a Wednesday. And on the Monday before, 2 days before his arrival, I started feeling disconnected from the feeling of attraction that I had for him. And part of the reason why I started feeling that disconnection was that he had boasted about helping a woman through his work. And I thought it was maybe him trying to make me jealous, him trying to show himself as successful, as good, and as and I just thought it, like, I already thought it was interesting and successful, and I thought that was really unnecessary, and I thought it wasn't, yeah, and mentioning the young woman wasn't kind. I just thought it was a bit weird. So I had, I think, as you call it, a moment of a creation point, or in which I felt a detachment. Then he arrived on the Wednesday. We had a lovely time together, and then on the Thursday, something really absurd happened, and I'm not gonna share the details, but it was really traumatic. I think for me, for sure, but also for him. And even before that happened, I had noticed certain things that I wasn't too in love with. But it was okay for me at the same time, because I know that people are not perfect, and I'm really I love to notice how people are different from me. That for me, that's part of attraction. You know, there is a space to fill, a space to walk. It's great. But I think subconsciously I had given maybe vibes of things not necessarily working out for me very much, or things that I hadn't appreciated simply. And I think that has had created maybe insecurity within him, and yes, so something really traumatic happened to us.
Yeah, it was sorry, just like, but that was really out of the blue to me when she told me about this situation. It was like that never happens in Paris to people. Like, it was just completely like it seemed like seriously like created for a reason. Like it didn't make any sense. But anyways, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And yeah, and then shortly after, and I helped him out. So something that happened to him, I felt bad as because I was, of course, in the situation. Sorry that I can't explain more. I just don't.
Yeah.
But then I helped him out as best as I could, and I created a space that was loving and supportive, and I made sure that his every need was met. Essentially, it was very positive, and he had some really weird behaviors with me. Which really hurt my feelings. Yeah, and I felt rejected by. And so I think this speaks to, and then he left. And then all of a sudden, without really speaking to me about what was happening, he just decided to leave. And I think I felt really puzzled by the whole situation, and I felt really rejected, of course, because on the surface, that is what happened. But at the same time, yes, there had been things before that I had noticed and that I wasn't super comfortable with. And so this to me, yeah, it made me wonder whether this was me maybe repelling, essentially. Yeah.
Sorry, I just took the mic from you. I'm just like, this mic's
Yeah, you go for it.
because I wanted to say, like, I immediately detected that like, say, let's say, yeah, creation point when you told me, oh, Monday, I wasn't so excited about him anymore. So it's like, oh, interesting. And it's like, yeah, it's not even this thing. It's like just a moment of feeling that way. It feels like there were several other moments where you felt the same. And it's like instead of listening to that, you completely just ignored it. But the thing is, for me, you felt in this energy of like really wanting to uplift this person, right? Almost like being like, okay, with whatever's happening, like I'm gonna accept him for who he is and all that. And the thing is, he wasn't ready to be accepted fully as he was. That's the thing, right? It's like, and when you get someone that is at a let's say at a certain level or whatnot of self development, and you don't have the capacity to receive that and to feel loved within yourself first, because if you don't love yourself and somebody loves you and says, oh, it's okay if you mess up, yeah, there's a part of your brain that says this is not logical, this doesn't make any sense, right? So yeah, and I just want to say hi to those of you who joined. Hey, Sylvie, Silver Pearl. Oh, sorry, I'm really bad at these the names people put out as their handle. Silver Pearl 40 and Jazz, hey, how are you? Yeah, you guys, if you have any questions, please let us know because people just keep coming in and out. What is going on? But yeah, if you guys have any questions for us, please let us know in the comments. And yeah, so just to say, and we're recording here and there live. So anyways, okay, go ahead. Oh, no, I was saying something, right? About, yeah, what I felt from this situation, because we had talked about it briefly, and even feeling into the energy of this guy. Yeah, I knew that you guys weren't on the same wavelength, right? So that's what I felt immediately. Like you are not on the same wavelength, and not to put, people above or below or whatnot, but we are at different stages in our journey, that's for sure. But when there's no resonance, to a certain degree, you can't really have that person that you're talking to or trying to communicate with understand you, even if you're doing the communicating and doing the things, and being there and all that. The thing is, there's another layer to it, all the subconscious level and the things that you actually feel for the person. And if you, at some point, there was a part of you that was like, I don't feel like this is my guy, then it's like you immediately start creating situations to like just catapult you out of there. And then you can even become the victim of it, by thinking, oh, actually he left me, but in reality you had already decided since Monday that you didn't want him there.
Well, it's interesting because yes and no in a way, because maybe um, maybe that is also testing that we do. We do see things that, I mean, nobody's perfect. We're not gonna find a person that is 100%
True.
checking all our boxes.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see things that we don't like. What are we supposed to do? Just not notice them because, oh my God, we might unconsciously reject a guy and then he's gonna disappear. I mean, I think that's it's impossible. We are going to notice things about guys that we don't like, about people that we don't like.
And I roll my eyes because, yeah.
But I think the important bit is that people then must show up. They must show up for who they are.
That's
we
true.
we and we are not always right necessarily. Maybe I don't like something, but maybe you can explain where that trait of yours come from, and then I can understand it. And this is where a relationship can get also deep and profound. But if you notice something that isn't really clicking for you, and if the person runs away, which was literally my case, and I think he ran away physically a couple of times, but also emotionally, like immediately I noticed how he wasn't there to open up with me. Then it's of course that it's a no-go. And so I think we do create that space. We dictate the dynamic in the sense that you're doing something I'm not completely comfortable with. Are you gonna be there and work with me, or are you just gonna disappear and leave? And I think that's that was perhaps the missing bit for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, yeah. So here's the thing, and we talked about this briefly, is the splitting, right? It's like when we feel like we're rejected by someone, and I have those tendencies, so I'm like guilty of that. I need to say that this is something that I've been working on a lot, is the feeling of like not being accepted or feeling like I'm being diminished, and then I immediately just flip on that person. Like I just completely turn into just not liking them at all. I don't want to use the word hate because I don't like that word, but literally not wanting to be in their presence anymore, and really just convinced that I don't want to see this person at all. And that can last for months on end. So that's not necessarily a good thing, because then when I tune into the like how I really feel about the person, like there's this big love for the person, and I'm just in pain because of what they said or they did.
The rejection that you feel.
Exactly. So it's really important to really feel into that and not to think of like, oh, just because this person said something that they don't like about me, or they were bothered by this thing that happened, it doesn't mean that they don't love me anymore. And even if they're upset with me right now, that doesn't mean that they don't want to be with me, or that they don't want to be my friend or whatnot. Or if it's a romantic relationship, it doesn't mean the relationship is over. So I think what happened with this person that you're talking about is like that every single like bad, quote unquote bad thing that he heard about himself, it was literally saying like, oh, I'm not good enough. Even if you absolutely reassured him, but I like this about you, it's like for him that doesn't make any sense in his head. It's like, because you told me, right, there were things where you were like, you do, you tend to do this and that.
And
okay,
I love that.
And I like that about you, even
I'm
though
just not used to it.
exactly. But for him, it was like what was said really was you're not good enough. So that's at a subconscious level. And so when that happens, it's like we tend to just flip and be like, okay, actually, I don't really like this person that much. And so I'm gonna leave now because this is not for me. And what ends up happening later on is that you actually realize, wait a second, I actually do like this person and I miss them. And so that's when that's when people start coming back and start, especially when we break up with someone and they're the ones who leave, then they end up coming back later on realizing, oh, hey, actually, I do really like you. And at that point it's like, well, there's that dance, like I said again, right? It's like, especially if you take your energy away from that person, that's felt at a certain degree because you're not thinking about them anymore. And it's like, okay, now wait a second, what happened? They feel it at a subconscious level and they'll try to come back, right? So that happens a lot as well. We also talked about like this dynamic. It's I can't remember exactly if there was something more to say along that, but yeah, there was something else before that, but go ahead if you want to add anything to what I just said.
No.
Okay.
That's good.
No, we're also talking about like the levels of like compatibility and how when this dynamic happens, there's like three basic spheres, right? It's like to be compatible with someone, there has to be some level of physical attraction, some level of chemistry, right? Some level of like spiritual connection, like at a soul level, let's say. You don't have to, talk about we're not talking about religions or anything like that, but something that feels deep, right? Something that feels a little bit more than just, you just kind of like this person. There's just feels like it just, yeah, there's something deeper, right? And then like the psychological or mental aspect, which comes more to like the more logical things or interest or like, yeah, do you have the same values? All this kind of stuff.
Do we want the same things?
Do we want the same things? Yeah, all these things have to happen. There has to be like a connection there. And if there's something missing there, then it's felt. And oftentimes it's our intuition that feels that. So the feminine energy, right? Going back to the power of the feminine energy. Our intuition will tell us if something is off in any of those spheres. and then again, like we will create something that will either liberate ourselves from that subconsciously, or we can decide also to consciously realize that we actually don't want this person because we know what we want, we know who we are, and that is bringing all these things up to the conscious level. And then you can decide consciously, okay, let's talk about this. I feel like there's something where we're not compatible, instead of creating all these dramas and traumas, right?
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
Yeah. So let me just check my notes here because I think we covered almost everything. But yeah. How do you feel so far?
No, I feel great. I feel like, I don't know, there's multiple things that we haven't mentioned, but yeah.
Okay. So what I was gonna say as well is there was a note that I wrote here. It's like we what did I say? Okay, yeah. We keep the people that are at our level. And we stay in relationships with people if we feel like we have a certain level of control or a certain level of like we can direct things. We'll keep that person in that relationship as long as we can. That happens quite a bit. And then once we up level, let's say, then we realize, oh my gosh, okay, I guess this person was not for me. And then what happens is like, so there is definitely a moment where you might think a person is made for you, and then you go along in that journey together. And then there's a breaking point where you're just like, or like, let's just say a crossroad, right? And then it's like the dynamic starts over again, kind of like now you have to choose yourselves again. It's like, are you going to choose that man again? It's like,
oh, I love that. So it's a journey of choosing ourselves, like choosing our partner again and again and again.
Yes, because that's what I've experienced. Like, for example, when I got divorced, for example, it was like, well, we're like completely different now. Like, what are we gonna do? So I was the one who made the choice, right? Because I was like, I know I'm completely just changing now, and if the other person is not going along the ride with you, then it's very challenging. It's not like it's impossible. We can make it work out with anybody, right? With anybody that we're really willing to make it work, it can work. However, there's all the other aspects, right? It's like, are they really going to follow you in what you value now because you've changed? Like, you might have different values, you might have different non-negotiables, all these things, right? So that's important. We were saying how it's important to have those set. Like when you want to go into a relationship, Like, what is it that you're wanting from this experience, and what are your non-negotiables?
Yes.
Super important. And so it's like this, like I said, this crossroad of like, okay, so are we choosing each other again? Or is it like, yeah, not working anymore? Because, and then again, it's like, it's again going back to, I like going back to the biology aspect, is like, do I like this peacock that I'm seeing here, or is it just not at all interesting, and am I going to turn my back, right? It's like, and then at some point it's like, well, I think, yeah, this is maybe not my thing anymore. And then what do you do? Some people, and that I'm guilty of this. I have to say, I have to be really honest about this, because I think I have to share this. Is that when that happened in my life, I literally did become the victim instead of really like owning it and being brave enough to say, hey, you know what? I don't love you anymore. Or I don't have feelings for you anymore. I was more like, how can subconsciously, because consciously I was like making excuses to, because I was seeing things, right? Like, oh, we're not compatible in this, and that. I could have just been more upfront and been like, okay, I really just think we're different people now, and I don't feel feelings anymore, and I'm sorry. But instead, I was looking for, oh, our communication styles, or
Yes.
or maybe about kids, or all of these things. Like, I was
Excuses. Yeah.
right, and almost also picking fights with the other person to have them be the ones that are causing us to leave. And it's like this whole, like this horrible thing that this dynamic that we get into with people, because we don't want to be fully honest, with ourselves first of all, and then with the other person. And I realized later on that I was actually, yeah, like, in a way that's not brave. You want to really say what you're feeling, and that's not easy. That's that's really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
You have your
Um,
notes. Yeah.
yeah, no, I was looking at some of my notes that I've taken over the last few days because I was processing what the events that happened to me. And I think yeah, something that I've also do a lot is focus on
Sorry,
sorry.
when you say that word, I'm just like always laughing.
I don't know, just
You do that a lot. What? Excuse me. What do you do a lot?
on the negative aspects of the man and the dynamic. And so I think that's also what muddies the water a lot. What adds fuel to the fire in a way, in a sense. And whereas I think that sometimes we just forget what's the core truth of what we're feeling. And if we were just a little more honest with ourselves, and we weren't looking necessarily at him, and what he's doing right or wrong, and we were just focusing.
Sorry, I just love how you say. Go ahead, please, please.
Just looking at ourselves and what we actually feel, we would see that we are just creating an attachment where perhaps it's too early, perhaps there shouldn't be one, perhaps it's an attachment based on other things. It's somebody who hasn't necessarily proved that they are worthy of it yet. So there's all these different things, which we're not able to understand, and we're not able to see because we're not
This is just. Sorry.
Oh my God,
sorry.
honestly, because we're not looking at what we're truly feeling about the person. What's the core truth of where we are, and where we are interested in, like, where we want the dynamic to go.
Yes, and I really love how this like ties into that question that I wrote down that we thought was important as well. Ask yourself, how much do I actually really like this person? Like, if there was someone else, would I still choose this person? Like, let's say there was someone else that,
Interesting.
yeah, interesting. Would I find them actually more interesting? And would I go for that person instead of, yeah, fully committing to exploring this? Even if it's at the exploration phase, to be honest. Even at that point, we already know if this is supposed to be a long-term relationship or not. To be honest, like, You just know. You just have to trust your intuition. If you haven't like been tuning into your intuition for that, you've been a
Mhm.
lot in your head. You've been a lot in relationships that are just not going to work because of that, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I also thought that I think to something that we've said before. I think sometimes we get lost with this question. Do I actually want him? Because we get attracted to the person that they could be.
Yeah.
We
Oh, has that
see
happened?
so much potential, and because again, our energy is a creative energy. We don't just see you where you are. We see where you could go, where you could be. And perhaps that's also the land of expectations. That's where they start. We expect people to behave differently because we know people can do that, can behave differently. Um, and so we create a man, or we create a person in our head and in our heart, and then we get disappointed again and again and again. And it's not necessarily that the person cannot meet us, that cannot meet our needs, that cannot become that person, but that becomes then a choice that the person has. Do they want to become that person? Do they want to step up? Do they want to become the man, the person who we know they can be, or do they want to stay where they are and shit all over the beautiful space that we've created for them?
Yes, which is what happened with you, right? And so that was a very, yeah, like very
Not literally.
graphic. No, but yeah, yeah. I mean, not literally, but almost, like energetically speaking,
Energetically speaking.
for sure. And that leads to the next note that I have here. Also, we talked about building walls versus setting boundaries. That's very different, like because a lot of people I've heard like comments being thrown around like saying, oh, women have their walls up all the time and they don't let anybody in. And I've had this comment a lot, like with people that have very narcissistic tendencies, especially have said this to me. And, not to bash on narcissists because I know that's a shadow aspect of myself. So I am owning it as like, I know why this brings up a lot of emotions for me when I see people like this come and do these things. And it's not about walls, it's about like setting boundaries and having like a door. It's like boundaries have a door and you show people how they can have access to you. Whereas people that build walls, they're not allowing any type of connection really, any type of true connection at least. Maybe they have like a persona or like a facade that they're showing to the world, but they don't allow for people to actually get to know them at any level. They don't know their needs, they're not expressing their needs. And that's also in a way I've had posted just something recently, or I saw a post actually and that I shared that said something about like not expressing your needs is also a form of non-availability in a way, because you can't have like people,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
people can't really know you if you're not setting certain boundaries or expressing certain needs. And just coming off as someone nonchalant or very cool, it does not make you cool actually. It does not make you more desirable. Having no needs at all is not something that's going to help you get a relationship. Actually, it's going to close you off from the good relationship, because a good relationship is meant to have that, or be able to create that a space for you to express your needs, your emotions, and set certain boundaries and whatnot, and trusting each other that whatever happens, there's still that connection. So there's no need for games or for assuming or for creating all these dramas and everything that happens around things that are just, we know that they're not meant for us, and we're just like, oh, this happened to me, but actually it's more like happening for you. And later on, you'll realize that you actually either dodged a bullet or created, a lesson for both of the people involved, for you and the other person. And it was a good thing. It was a really good thing that happened. And you'll see the gift of it. In the moment, you're not going to see it because it's so freaking painful. But as we were saying, no pain, no gain, right? It's like all the healing, you have to have some pain behind it. If not, it's not going to be impactful. So yeah, just to go like into more into that topic of like, yeah, the walls versus the boundaries. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, but that's, I think, something that we talked about earlier that was important.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think a couple of things. On the pain, I think it helps a lot when you really see and connect to this idea of the feminine energy and the fact that we are creating that environment for relationships. We are sitting still and creating the environment, and then people come in. And then we potentially, yes, there is things that we do or energies that we have that we repel. And if you think about it in those terms, you can then see in which moments you might have been subconsciously rejecting the person, like I have with this experience. There were moments in which I disliked him, in which I was almost embarrassed. And I'm pretty sure that that comes across, energetically, that probably comes across. So where are the moments in which you've set the table for them to leave? I think it really helps with recognize with that pain, recognizing where how you've contributed to the person leaving, because deep down either you wanted to test them and they've not passed and so they're gone, or they were just not for you and so they're gone. So that to the pain. And then to the walls, I think an example of a wall would be like, oh, he's not doing this thing that I need, so I'm gonna text him, do not contact me again.
I
You
know,
know what I mean?
I've done that. Yeah,
I've done that. Yeah. I mean, yes. And I think we do that for, of course, it's a protection mechanism. We do that.
and we're like expecting the guy to jump over the wall,
Exactly.
but it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. Yeah, but also because that is not a setting. Like that's not an environment. Like that's a destructive power. Actually, that's not a constructive power, and that is an active energy which we shouldn't have. We should we should allow for things to. We should be comfortable in our power, in our position, and just allow for people to come in, do what they need to do, and then with our boundaries, we then communicate whether we want them to stick around or not, and they'll drop away automatically if they're not respecting our boundaries, because that's just what happens. We're just not going to be interested in somebody who's not respecting our boundaries in the end. If we do not text me again, that's to be honest, that comes from a needy, insecure space, a space that cannot handle the uncertainty of a moment, that needs a surface level reassurance.
Yeah.
And that's never a long-term solution, even if the guy says, oh no, but I didn't mean to, that's never a long-term solution.
Yeah, and it doesn't allow for like the connection to go deeper. So, and I've been guilty of this for sure. Like, yeah, when it doesn't feel safe and I'm just like, okay, there's no like physical proof that this person actually likes me, like it doesn't make sense. Like I just will cut the relationship, right? But then it's like you get like this sense of like there's something that could have been done besides that, and then that comes, and I've also been the one reaching out after, like feeling bad about it. And then of course when the person takes their energy away, then I'm just like, oh wait a second, but actually can we just be friends or something? Like I was like that before. I'm not doing that anymore at all, but it's like I was like that before. It's like because we feel that, right, at an energetic level. It's like when the person takes their attention away from us. And but the thing is, we never allowed for the relationship to get any deeper, and that's really too bad, because even if the relationship doesn't end up being a romantic one, or it doesn't turn into like the love of your life, you could still have the opportunity to create a stronger bond and learn more about yourself, because every person that we meet is a reflection of us in a certain way. we're all mirrors to each other. I'm sure most of you have heard about this. And it's so true. It's like that person, especially the ones who hurt us the most and the ones who touch the deepest wounds, are the ones that are most activating us. So if we're just immediately running away from that because it's painful, we're not going deep enough. It's like use those relationships to go deeper. And if maybe, yeah, maybe it's too difficult or challenging to stay physically, at least, like set a boundary, yes, not a wall, but maybe like say exactly what you need. Maybe you need space to go deeper within yourself and see what is actually yours, what is theirs. You have to also make that the what's it called? Distinguish that, between what is actually yours, what is theirs, and then with that time, then later on, maybe you can, get together again or whatnot, or maybe not, who knows. But at least you gave your chance to explore that with the boundaries, like we said, versus the wall, right?
Yeah. And the boundary is also just really taking your energy away. You don't need, there's no communication, no big action. You just take your energy away. You go, I was going to say focus, but
you focus on yourself.
No, you on yourself, on your life, and you take your energy away, and that gives the situation space. And that is, again, that creation of space, which to me is the feminine power. And in the space, people reveal themselves. And I really strongly believe that wherever there is space in a situation, people can reveal themselves. That is in itself a boundary. If they don't, that's it. That's it. And there's no need to say, oh, I never want to see your face again. There's no need to people drop off. If you allow for that space, and that, initially can be just a physical space, because you cannot just stop thinking about somebody just all of a sudden. So physical space in which you don't communicate, but then as soon as possible, just really taking your energy elsewhere, your own projects, your own life, your own friends, the environment, the wherever you are, and then you allow for the right people to reveal themselves. And I think this is the core, of feminine energy.
Yeah, I love how you said like how you express the feminine energy like as a container to like do so many things, and only create but also nurture ourselves. Yeah, so within, right? Because again, coming back to the fact that we all have both energies, right? And then also just as a woman, just coming here as in this reality as a woman, and being here to express that energy and be in partnership with someone who's willing to do that work. I think it's like there's so much disconnect nowadays with what is the true feminine and masculine essence, I feel. I think a lot of people get lost in like, oh, how many genders are there? Not, not to judge or anything. I'm not saying that's a bad thing or not, but I think we get lost in all these technicalities and all these things, and saying, okay, we equality of genders, this and that. Okay, yeah, maybe for some couples it works and all that, but I bring it back to like biological level. For me, and what I was saying earlier, I also forgot to add, like that the feminine energy is also about communication, intuition. I did say that. But let's look back at let's say how tribes used to function, right? It's like the women would give their wisdom to men. They would listen and they would communicate that to the tribe. And if there was a disconnect somewhere there, it was like danger, like that could risk everything. So it was super important to keep that connection, like that communication, because the woman was like literally the link, right? And also, and then the man was the one who was, the leader. And it's not like both of them are not leaders, it's like both of them are leaders for sure. But like the man's main energy is that, right? Of like the one that's giving the orders and all that. Taking action. So in general, like just say the archetypes, right, of what is feminine and masculine would be, masculine is more about taking action. Maybe more analytical side as well, and all that. And feminine energy is more about the intuition, the nurturing, the communication. So, and then again, going back to, I really like to stress the fact that we all have, these both energies within us. It's about nurturing that within us first, and then like not expecting someone to complete us, but actually maybe to just join in with us already feeling complete, with which I think is super key, to stop attracting and paying attention, not only attracting but also paying attention to people that are not fully aligned with who we're here to be, and just kind of like feeling like they're completing us in a way versus just adding on to our happiness, you know. And so to say that we're not like saying we're perfect and we're there and we, you know, but we've you know, we've studied this, we've analyzed this quite a bit, we've observed our own relationships. We're following people that have successful relationships, you know, and that have told us certain things, or we listen to podcasts and stuff like that. So we're not saying like we have the, let's say, the solution to having a perfect relationship, but we feel like we've uncovered this knowing that if you truly connect with your intuition and your feminine power, there's really nothing for you to worry about versus just knowing or to do. Yeah, versus just knowing that you will magnetize the person that's right for you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And just relaxing in that knowing and that trust. I think that this energy is about trust that you know, trust that that things will work out, which is also why whenever we are just given into that that discomfort, that uncertainty gives us, and trying to figure out what it's thinking. Is it thinking of me? Is it when is it gonna you know, reach out, and all of that. That goes against this energy, which is a really complete and still kind of energy. You know, yeah, we don't need to do anything. We just have to do our thing, which doesn't mean not to ever do anything, by the way. I think there is a space for inspired you know, action whenever whenever that comes from a authentic place,
right.
But not to gain anything. It has to be it has to be a freely given kind of energy.
Yes, absolutely. Because instinctively speaking, again, going back to biology, like men are like to be providers, right? Even if they, in their minds or logically speaking, they're like, oh, you know, we should share tasks and stuff. But originally, the man provides, not the woman. Right. So, and I know this sounds maybe more traditional or whatnot, but this is the kind of stuff that, I mean, we tune more into, that we resonate with more, because it makes a lot of sense, you know. And it's not like the woman doesn't provide anything. Actually, we provide a lot, and I think, and it's more in terms of like what's not seen as well. Like men provide a lot of things that are very materialistic, like very physical, because it's, you know, again, more the analytical side, more like the physical, what's it called, resources, etc. And the woman is more about the emotions, right? And emotional support is huge, and a lot of people tend to diminish the power of that. And just by, you know, the presence and the nurturing of a mother, for example, it's like, you know, it's just again, the power of it, I feel like it's diminished a lot. And so I, you know, I felt like you know, calling all the women the women that are listening to this to really own that power, because a lot of women are just very much I want to say like yeah, diminished, or just very hidden, you know, like they're hiding. I feel like we've been hiding for a long time. And it's not like saying, oh, isn't this is not in a like a feminist kind of energy of saying, oh, we're gonna take over the world. You know, all this stuff that's portrayed in the movies and stuff. I'm just like sick of seeing that, to be honest. I don't know about you, but like the Barbie movie, all that stuff, it's not like that. I'm not that kind of power and stuff. No, no, no. It's about how can we be leaders by inspiring others, and inspiring men to also step up as leaders as they should, and to like lead together, you know, like because of the fact that the feminine or the women have been so much in their masculine, that's not happening. You know, a lot of times it's like women are chasing over after men. They're being like, they're always trying to, you know, do more, show the best of themselves so that they can do things. Okay, yeah, that's great, but when is it that, like, if a man is showing you his real feminine masculine energy and letting you step more into the feminine energy, it's a whole different dynamic, and it's more organic than what's more prevalent in society today. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't feel there is anything particularly wrong with going and
Hey.
doing stuff and chasing if that's what works for you. But I do think that I have done a little bit of that also because I think that's where we, like you were saying, that's where we live today. It's a world in which we are a little pushed to be more on our masculine kind of energy, in which we are go-getters, in which we are, we make things happen. So I don't think there's anything that is wrong per se about that, not even in relationships, but in my experience and for me, that kind of behavior never made me feel comfortable and aligned and grounded. The only thing that has made me feel comfortable and aligned and grounded is to embody this kind of energy. So creating the space, be nurturing, be loving, be lighthearted and fun and all of that. And then letting men walk towards me and just learning how to enter my space. That's what's been working for me. And again, it's everybody has their own preference, but whenever I go into the other side, I never feel good. Never.
Exactly. And it's been this tension, right? We have a comment here. Hey, how are you? There's too much stepping on men and masculinity and not enough accountability of understanding leadership. Men don't pursue women where there's no value in return for them. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's what the like media and all these movies are like, making this like it feels like there's this big divide, right? Of like saying, "Oh, men suck. We don't need men." Like, really? Like we freaking need men. Like, how are we gonna reproduce? Right? Like, what the fuck? I saw like especially this Barbie movie. I'm just like, what the fuck? And I was so upset. And then the Wonder Woman movie as well. Like, I loved it in so many levels, but at the same time, it was like this vibe of like, we don't actually need men. And I'm like, okay, no. So, yeah, that's really bad. I don't know what you guys think about that. Like, give me more comments. Like, thank you for your comments, guys. It's good to see you. How are you? Um, and is there 72? It's like a 27 backwards.
That's so true.
Because this is
Wow.
episode 27 in honor of this number that I love. This is so funny. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, let's say, okay, pay attention to that comment. When women say they don't need men, where do you think men are? When they're not needed, they're not wanted.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
Exactly.
But on the flip side of that is that when they are needed, a lot of men aren't able to withstand that. They aren't able to step up to the challenge, or to just step up, no challenge. Free entry here.
Yeah, and this goes back to how we attract certain men, because we attract the men at our level, and of like awareness, and also to teach us things. So yeah, I mean, if they're not stepping up, it's in a way also reflecting a part of us that's not fully integrated or whatnot. So yes, this will definitely happen. And again, going back to the fact that if the woman chose that guy, okay, yeah, you chose him, but it was maybe based on a trauma bond, right? So that happens all the time. And that's also where our work as women comes in. It's like, okay, where do I have to be more in my true feminine energy? Not what, society portrays as being feminine energy, but what is it that I have to do in order to be really nurturing, not just pretend like I'm being there and, wanting to actually go deep in this relationship. Because have I gone deep enough in my relationship to begin with, like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you want to say anything else?
I did, but I just forgot.
Hey guys. Hey, thanks for joining. I know people have been coming in and out, but if you guys have questions, please, or any comments. All right, let's see. There's another comment from 72. The architect. The one place I start with the women I'm with is my interest, if meets her interest, not her attractiveness. Yes. I love that because we talked a little bit about that, right? Like the values.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting because it could be different things. So it's do you need the woman to have exactly your same interests? Because I think, to me, it's more about energy. Like I could date people with that are interested in anything really. If they're really passionate and they've got an energy about what they're doing, I think that really, for me, that's what's important. So it's not necessarily about the interest themselves. To me, it's about the level of engagement and passion they have about life, and that, yeah.
Okay, so he says, I have different interests that my woman is not interested in.
Okay,
And that's okay.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think also maybe it's like for me, what's important is like the values. Like if we have similar values, let's say for example, I value communication a lot. I also value someone that has a certain level of self development or self, let's say, yeah, awareness. That's thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Yes, and other things too, but like creativity, and there is a list. I have a list of things, and it's good to make a list of your values in order for you to know what is actually that you're looking for. Also, only to embrace or like embody yourself, but what do you want your partner to embody? And those for me values are like just the most important thing, and then the non-negotiables, right? So but we can have different interests. I think that's cool. Like yeah, so but what like do you guys have, like, for example, something that you would like to share regarding this, like what are your non-negotiables, for example? Do you have a list of that? Have you thought about that even? Is that important for you? Because it is. I mean, yeah, I mean,
What are your non-negotiables?
my oof so not to live in another country. That's actually a new one because
I like that one.
because I've attracted too many from outside. That was a subconscious thing that I wasn't aware of, that I kept, the further away you are, the safer I feel. So I don't want that, but I don't want that anymore. I do want someone that I can work with physically, like to see them, to be able to see them, not through just video calls or just traveling once in a while. That's not going to work for me anymore. I know that's something that causes a lot of issues, and so that's definitely my number one right now. Another one is I don't want them to have an addiction. Like, and it's not like we're addiction free. Like, of course, I'm still working on certain things or whatnot. But if that person has an addiction, let's say they smoke every day or they drink all the time, that's not going to help me, because I don't want to be drinking and smoking every time we go hang out, or I don't want to be smelling like smoke, things like that. I want them to, have like, don't have any addictions. Another thing, oh gosh, like I had written down a few things. I mean, those are the two ones that I can share right now. Otherwise, I'm pretty open. Yeah, I guess another one, like physically speaking, do we have non-negotiables? I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I think I don't know. Me, maybe
No.
I do. I'm not sure. I don't know.
You could like anybody. You could like, with the right set of attributes and qualities and values, you could like anybody.
But I want to be physically attracted to the person I'm
But
with.
you're gonna be physically attracted to anybody, I
Right.
think, that has the right
That's true.
set of attributes.
Okay.
I think that a big one for me, it's that he must be value adding.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So not having a destructive kind of energy, and not not putting me down, not trying to, just adding value to my life, to how I feel about myself, to my days, adding value in general, with his interests, making me curious about new things. Yeah, that's a big one for me.
Okay, so there's a comment about like 72 the architect, and what makes a woman attractive is to be carefree and not to put on responsibility of the past. Okay, thank you for saying that. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
very
good to
much.
have an opinion of a guy here because yeah, it does happen a lot that, hey Siobhan, that women do tend to look a lot at the past, like, oh, they we still remember what you did 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's so true that the nagging about, oh hi, nagging about like what that guy did 4 years ago is probably not the best way to create more like a deeper connection. And also it's just focusing on something that already happened and that you can't control and I can't change anyways. How about focusing on like how, let's say, yeah, maybe you still remember that, but how can you move forward from that, from the present, right?
Yeah, or things that have happened in different relationships, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that person wasn't safe, therefore I'm going to distrust you.
I know I've done that. I've done, but hey, I'm aware of it now, and it's so true because I feel like even subconsciously we carry that. Even men, not only women. I'm, just this is speaking for both. I think
Yeah.
like when we've had traumatic experiences, especially from childhood, right, and or even adolescence, right, we tend to like grab that image of that person and just slam it on the other person, and it's like this is gonna be the same, and you actually make it be the same, you know. So he says, exactly. Why are you carrying pink slips to put them down or expect them to be any different? Yeah, I know. I mean, for me nowadays, it's like if someone is just not wanting to change or do anything different, that's okay. That's them. We can state our needs at least. I think, that's super important because you can't just be like, oh, they should be doing this out of their own volition. Like you have to state what you would like for things to be like. And if that doesn't happen, then you have to remove yourself. It's not about like forcing the other person to change and be like, I told you that I want you to buy me flowers and you don't do it. It's like,
Yeah, and it's also why is there a need and why aren't you meeting it? I think that can also be really, really interesting, just the exploration of that. I don't think that anyone who is in a relationship with us is trying to really not meet our needs. So where's the disconnect there? I think that kind of dialogue and communication is really fascinating. It's about finding the person who wants to have that discussion with us, understanding where's the disconnect.
yeah, exactly. So be careful how you evaluate somebody because once they start evaluating the contrast of who you are and what you bring to the table may not be so pretty. What do you think about that? It's like really deep. Yeah, let's think about this. Okay, thank you for your comment. Yeah, so be careful how you evaluate. So are we saying evaluate like as a judgment kind of thing or just like an objective evaluation? Because I think there's a big difference between one and the other. You know what I mean?
Should you really evaluate? I mean, I think, of course, there's always an assessment. This person, it's almost a subconscious, assessment that you do. There's things that you like and there's things you don't like. There's things like we were saying, the points of compatibility, for sure. But once you meet somebody, should you keep evaluating them or should you just live in the moment and try to connect? I think that's what I'm trying to do right now. Once you decide, yes, this person I'm gonna go a little farther with, and who knows where we're gonna get to. I think it's about being there with them, like physically and mentally and spiritually and emotionally, without any assessment. Assessment is, to me, evaluation speaks like logic, sounds like logic.
Oh yeah, and he's very into his stoicism.
Oh yeah.
Actually, yes. Yeah, and so as a Stoic philosopher, I work on this principle. I accept you for where you're at first, not where I want you to be. Absolutely.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
very much.
We did mention this before you got here, actually, right? Yeah, it's so aligned with what we said. I love that comment because it just confirms that that is so on point. Like we see maybe the potential in people, and that's cool. But one thing is the potential, and the other is like where they're actually at and what they're willing to do, and how much they're willing to work on themselves and with us. Because when you're in a relationship, I was studying this one time, and this is something that comes from I don't know if you guys have heard about recall healing, and it says how when you create a relationship with someone, it's like there's three. There's you, them, and then the third thing is the relationship itself, and you have to nurture that. And it's a whole, like, let's say, a whole construct in of itself. And if you're just seeing it from your perspective, or just seeing it as like something like between two people, it's not going to work, because or it's there's something going to be off, because you're not looking at it from like, okay, how do I nurture this other thing that we created between us, right? It's like one plus one equals three, not two, I think, is the whole concept behind that. So yeah. To all the ladies, write down 5 distinctive values that are in place with the person you're with. Yeah, we talked about values as well. Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So, how about you guys? Like, what are your values? I'd love to hear your guys' values, because we asked for non-negotiables earlier. Nobody wanted to share. I guess that's a tough one. But if Siobhan just hopped on. If you want to share your non-negotiables, what are your non-negotiables? Or if not, what are your values? Like, what do you value in a relationship? And just in general, what do you want to embody? So that automatically also speaks to like what kind of person you would like to find in your life, right?
I think this final comment speaks to trying to focus on. Oh, she says that. To concentrate on.
Hey, she's Italian. Excuse her, please.
On the good bits, on the good parts of the person, of the good parts of the relationship, because I do think that we have a tendency, once we recognize things that we don't, once we see things we don't like, we have a tendency to hyper concentrate on those.
Oh yeah, that's so true.
And that sometimes what's also creates the uncomfortable dynamic then, it's one thing to notice something that you do and that I don't enjoy, and that's it. And it's another thing to look at something you do I don't enjoy, and then really, really think about that a lot. And then that's going to show in my way of behaving with you.
Oh yeah, that's so true. I mean, and at the same time, think about like, is this a deal breaker, right? Or is it something that, if eventually it was changed, or if the person wanted to work on themselves, is it something that I could eventually accept, or something that maybe can grow to being something that I actually find more like adorable about them? I don't know. It's like, but if it's a non-negotiable, I feel like that's definitely something to really reflect on and think, well, okay, I think maybe it's time to make a decision, like a conscious decision of not continuing, versus like we were saying earlier, creating situations subconsciously or maybe consciously even to put ourselves in the victimhood of like, oh, okay, this is not working, and then the person leaving, and then we're like, ooh, he left me.
But so if I'm concentrating on things you do that I don't like, and I start acting according to that, then you're gonna feel a distance from me, and you're gonna behave as somebody does when when they perceive a distance,
exactly.
And so that creates the uncomfortable dynamic that then pushes people away.
Yeah. Okay. So Siobhan says she values authenticity and openness are key for you. Yeah.
I love that. Openness is a really big one for me.
And so 72, the architect says love and happiness are always in flux. That's number 1. Wait, that's not number 1. The value is how you work without a substantial role and position. Okay. So if you are not always happy, what do you do with all the other aspects of life?
Well, I think we are never always happy, right? I think it's normal. It's normal not, and happiness is more of a direction of travel. It's not a state, right? So it's about, I think it's about learning um, to get a little higher wherever you are, right there and then, just getting a little higher and hanging out with people who are able to help you get a little higher, who know how to get higher themselves.
Like
Rather
really high.
than- Yeah. Just kidding.
Yeah, well, you got the idea.
Yeah.
We're not high, by the way. Just kind of seems like it because we're always like this, but no. Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible to be content like most of the time, and maybe not like super hyper or happy all the time, but at least to be okay where you're at and accepting and like feeling gratitude for everything. And then again, we also have moments of being like, fuck this, like I hate this life. This is normal. So
It's about how long it lasts. That cannot be
that's true.
truly, a month. Or your whole life. That cannot be your personality trait.
No, but then we were saying earlier too of like how monotonous and boring it would be if you were always happy. Like imagine like I was happy like last night and I was like really really happy and I was like, "Oh man, like this is actually a pretty nice planet. I'm going to miss it." And I was like, "And I'm actually feeling happy." And I wouldn't know that I'm feeling happy because yesterday I had a crappy day, so now I'm really feeling this happiness. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And it is from bad spaces that we create. We bad situations or bad conditions just create an engine for us to move forward.
All right, let's see what 72 the architect says. So if you are not always happy, what do you do with oh wait, no, this is already said. Exactly. So when you guys facing it and he's not showing everything, how do you encourage for what you don't help with? What do we encourage? I'm not getting the question. Are you getting the question? Hold on. Maybe we might
not
need clarity. I
sure.
don't know. Did you get it?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, let me read it again. So when you guys facing it meaning what? The relationship?
The problems?
Oh, a problem? And he's not showing everything. Oh, maybe like not being authentic or open, right? Let me know if we got this right. How do you encourage for what you don't help with? Well, if you're not helping, so if you realize that you're not helping with something, like how do we encourage it? I'm not sure if I understood. Can you maybe like clarify? Because that's not very clear. And what are you referring to exactly? Go ahead.
I don't know, like a thought that just came is about, again, for me, is about creating space. So we don't need to talk about everything. Sometimes it's not, the time is not right, it's not mature, but it's about creating a space for connection. And yeah, just feeling that somebody's there with you, that can be enough sometimes. That can be encouragement enough. So just, touching, just holding your hand, sometimes just that can be just really encouraging and really enough. And then people, speak up when they feel that they can. If they don't feel they can, there's very little we can do. But we can create that encouraging space. I don't know. That's what I.
Okay, that's what you felt like saying with that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that might let us know if that answered your question. Because 72, the architect. Because if that's what you meant, then let us know. Otherwise, put in the comments. But yeah, I mean, I think having that safe space. I think we talked about this too. It's like especially women, we want to feel safe, right? We want to be in a relationship in which we feel safe to really express ourselves and our true essence and our needs and everything. And so when we don't feel safe, we automatically just shut down and not, that doesn't allow for a safe relationship. And at the same time, it's like there's also this need to share a little bit in order for the man to start creating that safe space and not shaming him for when he does something, that we don't like. Maybe, and at the same time, you don't want to give him too many chances because then that's just putting yourself into, lessons over and over again. But for me, I do like the idea of, being empathetic and allowing for the person to make certain mistakes to a certain level. And again, going back to like, what are your limits and what are your boundaries and your non-negotiables, etc. But yes, sometimes I feel like we shut down way too fast. I mean, that's debatable, perhaps. I don't know. I do feel like the more I look into the relationships I've been in, I feel like I've given men too many chances sometimes or not followed my initial intuition that was not the person.
Yeah.
And I let them in anyways. And that's just me putting myself into, this self-punishment. So it really depends, right? But yeah. So 72, the architect says, do you know how you feel safe get dirty too? When you both got mud on your face, you'll find out how you handle being safe within yourself and with somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. And so I think that's what happened to me last week with this person.
Yeah.
But that's the problem then. I felt very safe. I created a safe space for him because I think he needed it right then. And then and then he raised the wall. He raised the wall on me. So yeah, is safety something? So I guess there is a portion of safety that it's individual that we create for each other, that we feel within ourselves, and then we create for each other. And then there is also a part of safety that is co-created.
Yeah. So 72, the architect says, with my lady, I let her get erratic and I don't respond to it until she's done with it.
Sounds like you're a keeper.
All right. Well, that's a good way to go about it. Like get erratic. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it's also important to express like what we need, right? Like maybe she needed to be erratic. Like let me just express this and or do. And I think maybe you had even commented this before as well. It's like do you need advice or do you just need to let off some steam? Like it's important to check in, like what the other person needs, right? And if it's just to let off some steam, okay, just do it, So hey guys, great conversation. Yes, thank you for joining so much. 72 the architect. And he has a podcast as well. Actually, we met on a platform, podcasting platform. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining. And if anybody else has any other questions, please drop them in the chat, or if you have comments about this topic, we'd love to know more. What else did we want to did we cover everything? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, I have a lot of
So Chauvin says, yes, sometimes we don't want solutions, we just want someone to listen. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's why it's important to check in, because I feel like a lot of times anybody just it doesn't have to be a man or woman. Like we all have this tendency to want to bring solutions. And that is a very masculine energy, to be honest. And going back to the fact that a lot of women are a lot of times in their masculine, it's like, how can I solve this? Instead of just listening, which is more the feminine energy, right? So this could be applicable again for both men or women. Like, how do I just hold space for this, right? Hold a safe container for what is going on versus trying to solve it, So yeah, I said, oh, I'm going to be changing. It's under my name, Jason Barajas. Okay. Oh, okay. His podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Yeah. So definitely, I think that's super key in a relationship is to, again, coming back to the communication, which I said I value a lot, right? It's like, how can we communicate our needs better? and not to diminish our needs, because I tended to do that a lot. And we tend to think that the less needs that we have, the more desirable we're going to be. But that's not true, because you're not letting the other person get to know you. The right person won't be, annoyed by your needs, or won't want to shut you down or ignore you by your needs. It's going to work more. Maybe it's going to be a little challenging, sure, because they'll have needs too, and maybe they're not expressing them. And by you expressing them, that might also encourage them to express themselves more. So, it's a give and take, as we were saying, and it's like, yeah, and knowing when it's actually the person that you want to do the work with. There are things that you will have to, kind of force, let's say, put yourself out of your comfort zone, in order for it to work. But I feel like, we know, we just deep down, we know. And if maybe we mess it up in the first time, the person will come back around some way, or, one way or another. I feel like this is important to say right now, is like, whatever is really meant for you is always going to be there for you in one shape or form, even if the person isn't physically there, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I think if we don't communicate our needs, then we get then that creates a lot of resentment. So one way or the other. So then we're bottling up, and then we're exploding one day. So one way or the other, they come up. It's just either you're conscious about and careful and loving when they come up, or or they sneak up on you when you least want them to come up, and in a very unhelpful way that doesn't lead to more connection. Because expressing needs can actually lead to more connection, except when you yell, shout, and make people feel guilty and ashamed, and all of that. That doesn't really get the message across.
This is definitely something I wanted to touch on. Thank you for bringing that up, because I was talking about this with someone the other day, of like how to express your needs in a more, this is more for women, of course, or men that embrace more the feminine energy, but like, how do you express your needs in a more feminine way? And maybe we can, ask what they think about the masculine way, but for the feminine energy, it's like, instead of, let's say, saying, oh, you never get me flowers. Like, see, this guy always gets flowers for a girlfriend. Why can't you do that? That's like nagging. That's a more like, yeah, that's, you don't want to do it that way. That's even more towards like masculine energy, just kind of, being like, oh, why don't you do this? And being just very condescending. So you don't want to do that. And you don't also want to just ignore and not say anything, or just, show an attitude of like, that's not going to get you anywhere either. Another bad way of expressing your needs. So what you want to do if you want to embrace more of the feminine energy, is say something like along the lines of like, you know what, I really like flowers, and I really love when I get flowers, and that makes me feel really special, or something along the lines, like, just, or with communication, like, you never communicate. I've always told you, like, to text me when you get home. Why don't you do it? Or, instead of being like, oh, just being upset and just like not talking, like giving them the, what's it called? Silent treatment. Another bad way. And then, so the more feminine way would be like, I know that you need time with your friends. I understand that you're busy or whatnot. Or I understand that you were at work, but I get worried when you don't text me. So yeah, I'd really love to hear back from you, when I text you or whatnot, something like that, just say like, or I value communication, I value communication. Yeah. And it really doesn't, or, it doesn't, or it bothers me when you don't text me back after, such and such hours or whatnot. But yeah, just say it in a way that it's not like nagging, like not, or not saying, oh, you're doing this completely wrong and I don't like you anymore. Like, yeah, that energy of like, this is a non-negotiable, which is, maybe it's not, or if it is, then say it, you have to say it. Yeah. So,
yeah. I think I've gotten so much better at communicating my needs recently, and I think that I do it. I hope I do it in a very non-needy way. So I say, I would love to talk to you, but we don't have to talk today. It's okay. or I say that because I truly feel that way. Like I truly, like I'm connecting to the desire of talking to somebody. But if it doesn't happen, hey, I'm alive. I'm going to be alive tomorrow, even if I don't talk to him, and I'm aware of that. So, and I am aware that people are busy, and so I do that. And then I've, with the person that I was this last weekend, I've also communicated needs a few times. And then it also happens that, so when you do that, when you're saying, I would like you to go here with me, and that's it, you communicate a need. I like flowers. And then you leave it there without passing judgment, without communicating expectations. Then you create that space in which person can walk.
Which way?
And
Annalisa got me some really beautiful flowers. Thanks. Because I had said I'm gonna buy myself flowers, and I hadn't done it, and so she did it for me.
but because when you desire things, they arrive one way or the other.
Yeah, that's so true.
The only thing I wanted to say is that sometimes people do not. You mention something that is important to you, and people disregard it, and that is telling. So, and then in that case, it's very hurtful when you're saying, I really think this is important for me, and that's it, and you don't you're not needy about it, you don't and then they still don't do it. That's hurtful. But then that's when you take your energy away, because that is, it's in itself a boundary that is not it's a sign that that the person isn't.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that again, right? Like, I think we mentioned it before, just to reiterate that it's like, it's not about trying to change the person or feeling like you have to tell them, oh, you did that, or point it out. It's like you just state what you value. And then if they're not able to meet that need or match that energy, then
Or
you
don't want to
just,
talk about it either.
or yeah, and you just remove your energy, basically. That's the easiest thing. Like, no, it's not easy, actually. No, I'm a liar. It's not, that's actually the best thing, but it's not the easiest thing.
No, but once you come from an understanding of like a trusting place, a trust that your what you feel is valid and your needs are there for a reason, which doesn't mean like, oh, well, this person today is busy and isn't getting me flower. Okay, fine. But when your needs are communicated again and again, and they are not, they're disregarded again and again, that is when you take your energy elsewhere. And I think the difficult part is trying to do that gracefully. I haven't really learned. Sometimes I do want to make people feel guilty. You said you were going to be there and you're not, and blah, blah, blah. I think the challenge is, I think we're getting better. The challenge is to do that gracefully, but yeah, removing our energy. And
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, again, not trying to change people. Thank you so much, Shabaj. The beautiful explanations. Thank you. Yeah, wow. So I feel like it's time to start wrapping it up. We've been here for almost 2 hours. Oh my God. This is like one of the longest podcasts I've done in a while. Wow. But we've been covering a lot of good things. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. It's been so fun.
Yeah. Do you guys have any comments? Hey. And Brass, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but welcome to this live. Do you guys have questions about this topic, like the feminine energy and anything else that we might have mentioned, and or if you want to add anything for people listening, because we're recording on the computer as well, and we're going to post this in the podcast. So yeah, this is your moment to shine. If you want to say anything. Otherwise, while people are thinking about anything they might want to say, or thank us, or say that we're lovely, or something nice. Oh, by the way, we're like dressed, have you noticed? Like, I'm the dark feminine, and she's like the more like nurturing feminine. I don't know what to call it. I just say, I'm playing the lottery
tomorrow. What are the feminine winning numbers for tomorrow for the lottery?
27. It has to be in there. 27 has to be in there.
I mean, if we knew,
And I don't know how many. Thank God, I don't know how many
we'd
numbers.
be playing ourselves,
Right? If we knew how many numbers there are in the thing, I don't even know. But put in a 27 in there for some reason. I feel like that's important. And a 72.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. A 13 as well. Anyways.
When was it that we met? April 6th.
Yes, April 6th, which is like a 9 backward. Number 9 is very important as well. So 9, 11, 27. Those are my numbers, basically. 13 sometimes, but not. I don't know why I said 13 earlier. Do you have any like favorite numbers? I don't know, or
Not
reoccurring
really.
numbers? No. Okay. Lately, mine, of course, when any of you listening know it is 8. Oh, Siobhan says 18, which 8 plus 1 is 9. I like 9. I've been seeing so many 9s. What was I saying? Oh yeah, well, people like think about other things that they want to ask or say or add to shine in this podcast. Or to, just to comment, or, you can also, if you want to promote something, feel free. Okay. So anyways, but I wanted to promote your newsletter, right? We'll put the link in the description of this podcast. Yeah. So if you guys want to join, it's love and life, love and life and love.
Love and life,
Love and life.
I think.
You think? Because this is her night job. So as I was saying, during the day she's having a normal job, and then during the night she saves the world. So through her writing. Hey, men in red Speedos, are they attractive on beaches or not? Oh, red Speedos. I don't think so.
That's a big no-no.
That's a great question.
I'm just picturing an Italian beach. Wow. Full of men in Speedos.
Wow, that's. I mean, the thing is, okay, so for me, or just making sure that I'm thinking about the right thing. Are Speedos like the underwear looking stuff?
Yeah.
So for me, that's like almost all the time a guy that needs to show up his stuff, and like, why do you need to show off? Sorry.
Oh, that was just
So you get a woman laughing and they're interested.
that is very true.
That's not true.
Yeah, that
No,
is true.
it's somebody, what is the saying? Like, women laughing is like something about a bed, like halfway in your bed or some shit like that. And it's like, no, a woman laughing is a woman laughing. That's it. Okay, it doesn't mean anything. Especially Italian and Mexican women, like, we laugh about all the shit in the world.
That is true. That is true.
We were saying the other day of like how like everybody loves Mexicans, everybody loves Italians because we're so freaking flirty just by nature.
Just naturally, yeah.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of people tend to confuse that, like, what we do as flirtiness, and it's just natural, and we like to laugh, and but
I got into so much trouble because of that.
I know. Get a woman laughing, number 1, give her mystery, number 2, and slowly share everything else, number 3. You're Mexican also. I know. That's true. Jason is Mexican as well. But you don't laugh and flirt all the time, do you? I mean, you kind of do, I guess, in a very discreet way. But it's so true. This comes naturally, like in the blood, perhaps, like just loving to connect with people just naturally, laughing about all of the things. So yeah, that was a very nice segue to I don't know what, but I don't know, honestly, but I love that we're bringing this energy in. Who's Sade? Do you know who Sade is?
Yeah, the Smooth Operator song.
I don't know what song that is.
Oh my god, I can't think of it.
He's probably gonna say something more about it.
Oh my god, I can't think about how the song goes. Smooth Operator.
Who?
Smooth Operator.
Oh,
the song.
Smooth Operator.
Yeah, yes.
I can't remember what the song says, but I remember the Smooth Operator thingy. Oh, okay. So that's about that. Okay. I think we're running out of things to say.
You think?
Unless there's more
So we
coming.
keep laughing for 20 minutes.
20 minutes of laughter. Like, yeah, that's amazing. Can you imagine, like, just a podcast of laughing 20 minutes? Do you think somebody would listen to that? I mean,
Probably. Maybe
really?
it's like it could be AMSR, ASMR. What's it?
ASMR. Yeah, that's true. You know, like I used to there was this funny video that
Oh, let's join his clubhouse talk.
is called, but we can't download Clubhouse here. I
We
tried.
can't?
No, I tried.
Really?
I don't think so, unless it's already available here. But I tried one time and it wasn't available here in France.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll try again.
interesting.
But yeah, we could do a Clubhouse thing if it's a possibility. If now we can redo something on this app. Yeah, because I was on this other app called Fireside and then I left it. But that was fun for a little while. That's where I met Jason. And what were we saying about laughing? Oh no, I just wanted to make a really, this is a random thing, about the videos on YouTube that they post sometimes, like that last for 10 hours. And there was this one about like a neon cat that was like a cat with a Pop-Tart body and he farted rainbows. I don't know, this is totally off topic, I know, but anyways, that was like 10 hours of that. And literally this cat just going, "Nya, nya, 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 nya." Neon cat. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Maybe some people know. I'm sure some people will know. That was a thing like maybe 5 years ago, and it was lasting like 10 hours, and people would actually listen to that shit. Oh, he said, I hate Fireside. Well, I wouldn't go that far as saying the word hate, but definitely was, it turned into, yeah. And now we're recording on Riverside. So we're going from Fireside to Riverside. We're on Riverside.
Oh, she knows it.
Siobhan knows the neon cat. Oh my gosh, see, I told you somebody would know about it. I knew it. It was so cute, as well as like a kitty with a Pop-Tart on his body. I'll show it to you later. This has nothing to do with feminine energy. But oh well, how can we make the link? I don't know, like help me here. Because I guess we could say, well,
Spontaneous?
yeah, I mean, bring lightness into your life with the feminine energy. And the neon cat, all this stuff. So much fun. So much amazement. Oh my god, classic meme. Oh, Joe finally joined in. Hey Joe, we were like wondering if you were like still like there or just kind of maybe fell asleep. The neon cat brought him to life.
Finally, something to resonate.
Oh, guys, well, maybe we should have a moment of sharing memes. Like, who else has a great meme that lasts 10 hours? Oh man, but that seriously though, like, can you imagine we've been recording for almost 2 hours? Time didn't been. I was reading the comment at the same time. Been here the whole time. Really, Joe? You've been listening to this crazy talk the whole time. So, but what do you think? What do you think about what we said? Did it resonate to a certain level? Maybe, yeah, like with certain life experiences or maybe just, yeah, hearing like what women think about relationships in general. I mean, that's something that was interesting to hear because you know what I would love to hear? A podcast of two men talking about how they experience relationships like this.
Oh
You
my
know?
God, it would be so good to do like a conversation with two guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, two guys, yeah. Of course, it has to be two. It can't be just one.
It's getting out of hand.
Okay, so just waiting if Joy has anything to say about my comment. If not, we can start wrapping it up because this is definitely getting, as Annalisa likes to say, Out of order. Oh gosh. Okay. But yeah, I mean, what can we kiss blah, blah, blah. How is it? Wrap it up. To start wrapping this up because yeah, I mean, we've been saying a lot of stuff and things that are true for us that might be true for everybody listening and or maybe not. But hey, it's about sharing, you know, this human experience. It's like I feel like these topics are not talked about a lot, you know, like how we actually feel about each other and in terms of like, you know, in relationships, men and women together. Maybe women with women too, you know, we don't want to exclude anybody, but like, yeah, we are definitely more focused on like, you know, the men woman dynamic for sure. And yeah, I feel like it feels like almost taboo to me in a way, you know, like it seems like a topic that maybe not a lot of people are also not sure about what to say because I don't know why this is coming to mind, but it feels like there is even some certain fear of being judged for saying certain things or, you know, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's almost feeling, yeah, you're almost made to feel guilty if you hope for things to develop in a certain way, if you like to keep certain dynamics, and if you don't want to have certain behaviors that don't align with who you are really. And yeah, perhaps nowadays it's not that fashionable. And yeah, it's not to say that people should have certain behaviors or shouldn't, or that certain types of people, certain groups should all do certain things. I think, yeah, it's about finding the set of behaviors that feel and ring true to you and that allow you to connect to who you are and make you feel comfortable, and allow you to create a comfortable dynamic. I think that's just it.
Yeah. I mean, my brain is kind of fried. I just heard half of what you said, but yes. Sorry, I literally just spaced out so badly. But yes, I know I agree with what you said. This
Blueberry, bananas, oranges.
okay, Joe says a great talk and a lot to unpack. Got to be true to yourself first before you can authentically be true in a relationship. Yeah. You touched on that, and that's the first step. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, absolutely. And for everybody listening, that's some great advice, you know, coming from a guy as well. You know, guys, like literally, just really go deeper, you know, go deeper within. And women are ready to do that with you if you're willing to do it. And don't be scared, you know, it can feel a little daunting for sure. And even for us, you know, it's not easy. But yeah, just trusting that the right person, you can't mess it up with the right person, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think we're good. I don't know, did you want to add anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Thank you for joining, and we will see you guys on another episode of Shell's Dream Space. This is episode 27 of season 3. It's actually in reality more like the episode 138. Like I've done 138, but this is season 3, and I just decided to start over again. So, but yeah, it's been quite the journey. So yeah, I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. It's so fun.
Yeah. Ooh, I just saw 27. Oh, it went away. Anyways. All right, guys. We'll see you guys in another live too. I'll probably share this live soon. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.
And we stopped the recording. All right. So.